Welcome back. We hope you've been enjoying the wonderful in-season produce that the warmer weather has brought us. So today, we're talking with one of the founders of FreshBowl, who delivers delicious fresh salads and snacks from a vending machine. The produce is from sustainable local sources, and the lack of packaging is a fantastic sustainable solution. So originally, was sustainability part of your goal in bringing this food into these vending machines?
It might make me a terrible person, but at first it wasn't. I just wanted to get healthy food to more people. But when I linked up with my partner, Chloe, who I think you guys have met as well, she was so determined in her mission for sustainability that it really rubbed off on me. I also have a sister who is so behind the movement too, that she'd been grilling me forever to use reusable packaging. So I remember when I was talking to her, I was like, oh, it doesn't make sense. It's crazy. I'm going to run my business into the ground doing this. But as I got more familiar with it and started talking to Chloe more, I realized that there was a real business model behind it. And also too, building a business around a mission like that is really beneficial towards your company as well. Yeah.
So what exactly makes what you guys do so sustainable? Now that you're behind the movement and we've got you.
I'm full on board. I'm bringing it back to my everyday lifestyle too. I've started to teach myself how to do recycling and all these other things that they don't tell you in school, but you figure it out.
I know.
I also watched episode 1 of this, so I'm getting a little bit more knowledgeable on the movement as well. But what makes us sustainable is not just that we're producing our food in a way to reduce waste and to have composting on the back end, but we're also doing everything in reusable glass jars. So we actually just started something in our company that we call Waste Free Wednesday. And so we try to go a whole day without producing any waste. And what you'll find is really the most difficult part of that whole process is lunch or meals. It's very hard to go find something that comes in reusable packaging or something that doesn't produce waste. And so what we really want to do is provide that option for the same person who's on the go. And there's really nothing in the market that's doing it currently. So that's where we're jumping in. We're providing food that's sustainably sourced and also produced, but also in reusable packaging.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's really neat. So you also mentioned, as well as being sustainable, there is a real business model behind this. So what exactly are the advantages that you're experiencing in this type of business as opposed to a traditional meal provider like a storefront or a food truck?
Yeah, well, so when you look at the business model from the top, it's really easy to see the efficiencies that you get from reducing retail labor costs. You have an 18 square foot footprint, so you can go into more locations. You can provide more food per square foot than a traditional retail store. Where sustainability comes in and provides a really unique aspect for us is twofold. One, in that it is a loyalty program. So every time the consumer brings back their glass jar, they get a $2 purchase towards their $2 credit towards their next purchase. So we're able to retain customers and then also interact with them. We also get the consumer data. They'll use us through their apps or their cell phones, so we're able to target them more directly and provide meals and options that are more in line with what they're trying to do. The really unique and cool part that I've started to learn is that just for example, let's say that the average packaging cost on a grab-and-go salad is around 50 cents. If we're able to use a reusable packaging that's about $1 or $1.25, if I get that returned just 2 or 3 times on average for the average life expectancy, I now have a real business advantage over my competition. I can get the cost of packaging and my washing cost down to a price where I'm about 50% of the average packaging cost for a regular grab-and-go product.
That's really crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that. That's an amazing...
Yeah, it's one of the cool things that we've learned from jumping into this whole thing. Also really cool to see that when you're going in with a business model that is so location specific. So we're trying to go into places where people are ritualistically going. So that's on the front end, subway stops, but in the back end, also your offices. So in just our pilot program alone, we're getting an over 80% return rate, which if you just do the inverse of that, it's around 5 times for the average jar rate. So we're beating the packaging cost currently.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned getting to interact with your customers via this loyalty program and stuff. So are you finding that your customers are excited about FreshBowl because of the sustainability aspect, or is that something you're having to educate them on that's kind of an added bonus?
I think it's definitely a mix, right? you see people that see the concept and they're in love with it from the get-go, and they're your most loyal customers from day one. Honestly, the food probably couldn't even be that good, and they would still come back every day because they're really behind the mission. But it's still a really small niche, and I think that's probably what a lot of people who are jumping into the sustainability industry right now are seeing, that a lot of people want to do something about it or are interested in it, but there's a very few amount of people that are really passionate and understand that space. So there is a big educational process behind it. The one thing that we have been committed to from the beginning is making it so that it's easily understandable for the consumer. So you don't need to know that your glass jar is not going into the ocean, which is causing all the issues that we're seeing, but you know that you're getting a $2 credit back towards your next purchase. So they get to feel good about themselves with a very understandable process from the front end, and then communicating that to the consumer in a way that is empowering instead of fearful. Because a lot of times people get really scared by just the enormous mission behind a lot of these sustainability companies. And so by doing it in a way that really empowers them for just their small action is really what we're trying to do.
You guys are making it so accessible to people to participate in the movement in their everyday life without feeling overwhelmed at every step of the way.
And I'm a big believer that in any large movement that you see, it really starts with like a really small piece. Like I think that the sustainability really grabbed a bunch of momentum last summer when the straws, everybody's getting rid of straws. Very simple thing to do, right? But now everybody is able to play their part. I don't get a plastic straw when I go out to lunch. I get a paper straw, and businesses are able to do it at a really low cost. And so then that's when people start to understand it and get behind it. And I think that was a really cool turning point, and we're trying to make it kind of a smaller, similar community with us.
It's so exciting. You're like leading the way to do that. It's really cool. So where can our followers go to try FreshBowl?
So right now we're only in private locations. So we're in the WeWork for our pilot location. We're launching a few other private locations in May, but June 3rd we'll be in Fulton Center. So we'll be accessible to the public.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what does that change for you as far as having to, I mean, I guess you don't know yet, but to restock the machines and
well, hopefully it means that we're restocking the machines a lot more.
Yes.
But no, I think that it's great because we get to test out different business models. There's going to be a lot different. So if we're able to get the glass jar return rate to where we're saying 2 to 3 times, somewhere in between there or more, so that it works from a financial perspective, I think that's a major win for reusable packaging in general, to do that in a public setting. So I think that's the main thing we're trying to test at that location.
So speaking of restocking the machines, going back a little, I guess, how exactly does it work? And like from making the meals to getting them into the machines, what does that process look like? So
my partner Chloe handles a lot of the food production side, so I won't even try to expand on that because I know I'll mess it up. But from the operations perspective, there's what we call the startup scale and then the long-term scale. Right now we're producing everything out of a small kitchen. It's a restaurant, and we're bringing it to the locations via even subways at times. We had a van that we're going to be using more as we get to more locations and we have higher volume. The long-term scale is to own the van, own the logistics system, and to operate it. It's a pretty difficult business once you start thinking about you're doing food production, logistics, and also have the front end of B2B and B2C sales. But owning that all is really what allows you to have a fresh product that that resignates with the consumers.
Yeah, so there are some challenges that go into it, I'm sure, that you face, but it's a worthy cause. It's worth figuring it out.
Yeah, no, we're very excited about it. It's like I said from the beginning, it was a lot more difficult than I realized when I was jumping in, but I think that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah. So we have run the numbers here, but just curious, do you happen to know what the carbon footprint comparison is for you guys versus a traditional food provider?
I don't. I probably should. I'm assuming I'm going to learn here, though.
Yes, you are. Like I said, we have run the numbers. I think you'll be pretty pleased to know that you guys are functioning at 50% less carbon emissions than a traditional food provider, which is kind of insane.
That's great. It's great to know.
That is huge. So your sustainability effort and you personally, all of it getting on board, besides just finding an awesome business model is doing a great deal.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. And I know that I've joked around back and forth about like actually doing that analysis. So it's really cool to hear it's done and that it turned out how we would have hoped.
Yeah, 50% less. That's
Very
pretty
cool.
darn cool.
Yeah.
It's been really lovely chatting with you. Thanks for coming and informing us about all of this amazing stuff that you guys are doing. And we're so excited to get to hopefully try FreshBowl soon in a public area.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. It's been fun, and yeah, come check out the vending machine. We launch June 3rd. At Fulton
June
Center.
3rd.
June 3rd.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
Awesome.
it. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. We really hope you enjoyed learning about some of the sustainable choices being developed to bring you delicious food. See you next time, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and join the swarm.